Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone to today's Sunday morning class on Krishna book. Please bless me that something beneficial can be said today. With all of your blessings, I'm hoping that's the case. I'll just begin by offering some praise to our spiritual master. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurani Prachayane Nirvishesha Shunyavani Paschatyavanti Sudharane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhubhyacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So, before we continue along with the actual chapter for today, which is chapter 2, praised by the Demigods for Lord Krishna and the womb, I thought it would be nice to just reflect on the importance of Krishna book and how important it was to Srila Prabhupada. Because Srila Prabhupada's main kind of work and his ongoing mission that he was doing was translating Srimad Bhagavatam. But well before that could be fully complete, he wanted to give us the Krishna book, which was the summary of the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, together with philosophy necessary to understand the book. And so, as early as 1968, I see, maybe earlier, but in September 1968, Prabhupada wrote in a letter, I am contemplating also to publish one book, Krishna in picture. And then in December of 1968, he wrote, we are planning to begin an illustrated book of all Krishna's pastimes and stories. So a very good, hard-working artist will be required. So if you can practice to do this, it will be a great service. And then in 1969, in July, he wrote to Shyam Sundar Prabhu, it is very encouraging to learn that you think Mr. George Harrison will be happy to print our Krishna book. This will be a very great service to mankind at large, if he can be of assistance in this connection. We are giving a unique contribution with this book, a book which tells of the activities of God. There is no other book that has been authoritatively presented to the Western world up till this time, which has given so high a contribution. If persons will simply read this book, or even look at the many pictures within, then this alone will bring immense spiritual benefit to their lives. So, Prabhupada is really emphasizing how valuable this Krishna book contribution will be, and he was very enthusiastic that George Harrison of the Beatles was willing to fund this book. And then in 1971, Prabhupada wrote that, in my heart, I want that Krishna book, in small or large form, should be distributed in every home who are English-speaking people. So that's how much Srila Prabhupada valued this book. And the really cool thing about this book that's quite unique is that almost the entire book is available as an audio in an audio form, where you can actually hear Prabhupada dictating the book. I just for everyone to make everyone familiar, Prabhupada's books were dictated by him on tapes, and then they were sent to his disciples to transcribe and edit, and that's how we got the written kind of form of the book. But in that whole process, many of the tapes were overwritten, because so you send the tape, they transcribe it, and they send it back, and you record over that tape, and that's how you carry on going. You didn't have the kind of resources we have today where we can just, upload videos to YouTube or do all these kinds of things. So, unfortunately, most of those actual tapes are not available, but we do have the audio of Prabhupada actually dictating the Krishna book, almost all the chapters actually. And I encourage everyone to read it. It's very freely available. Not to read it, to hear it, because when you hear Prabhupada speaking, it's just a very amazing experience actually. It kind of brings a new life to the book as well. So those are just some introductory thoughts that are not really related to today's chapter, so nothing. Oh yes, and by the way, you can feel free to stop me at any time if there's anything unfamiliar that you'd like to discuss. You don't have to wait till the end or anything. And so we'll actually continue now with today's chapter, which is chapter 2, praised by the Demigods for Lord Krishna in the womb. So some of this I'm going to summarize, and some of it I'll read the text, and some parts will be skipped because we obviously can't cover everything in a limited time. So the chapter begins with Krsna, who's Krishna's uncle, an evil uncle. Or yes, if I mention anyone's name who anyone's not familiar with, please stop me and tell me to explain who that is. But I think I'm assuming that probably most, if not all of us, who are familiar with all the personalities mentioned here. So, Krsna was making alliances with demoniac kings and harassing the members of the Yadu dynasty, which Krishna was going to take his birth in. So that's how this chapter kind of starts. And it's basically setting the scene. Krishna hasn't taken his birth yet, although of course we know Krishna doesn't really get born or die in the same way that ordinary living entities do. He appears by his own will, and so, but for the purpose of pastime, he will appear to take birth, and so this is before that event had actually happened. And Devaki and Vasudeva, Krishna's parents, before Krishna's birth, there were 6 babies that were born and killed by Krsna, because he was afraid of this prophecy that Devaki's child was going to kill him. So, and what the chapter mentions is, when Krsna was killing the 6 babies of Devaki and Vasudeva one after another, many friends and relatives of Krsna approached him and requested him to discontinue these heinous activities. But all of them became worshippers of Krsna. So that's quite, shows how powerful Krsna was, that even all these people with good sense told him, stop killing all these babies. But eventually they became his followers. And then in Vrindavan, Rohini, one of the wives of Vasudeva, was residing in the house of King Nanda and Queen Yashoda. Not only Rohini, but many others in the Yadu dynasty were scattered all over the country due to their fear of the atrocities of Krsna. Some of them were even living in the caves of the mountains. So, as Krsna was harassing the Yadu dynasty, they had scattered all over the place. So his idea was to defeat how solid the Yadu dynasty was, and split them apart. So they scattered and were all over the place, and Rohini ended up in. Rohini was one of the wives of Vasudeva, was Krishna's father, ended up in Vrindavan. in the house of King Nanda and Queen Yashoda, who are also Krishna's parents. Later on they become Krishna's kind of foster parents, although they're eternally his parents, actually, in the spiritual world. So at this point, the Lord told Yogamaya to arrange the transfer of Balaram from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini. So after these 6 children were born from Devaki and killed by Kamsa, the 7th appeared, who was Balaram himself. And then the Lord said, then the Lord instructed his internal potency called Yogamaya to arrange the transfer of that baby from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini. So just a little backstory why Balaram comes basically to set the scene for Krishna's appearance. So he entered the womb of Devaki. He's Anantashesh, who we know the Lord is always lying down on Anantashesh. Is the bed of the Lord, the Lord's seat. So in that same way, he always had the nature of serving the Lord. So even before the Lord appeared in Devaki's womb, he went and appeared to check things out. And then the Lord told Yogamaya that after she does this, she can appear as the daughter of Nanda and Yashoda in Vrindavan. So let's continue reading. This is the Lord speaking to Yogamaya. Since you will appear as my contemporary sister, and since you will quickly satisfy desires for sense gratification, people within the world will worship you with all kinds of valuable meditations, incense, candles, flowers, and offerings of sacrifice. People who are after materialistic perfection will worship you under the different forms of your expansions, which will be named Durga, Bhadrakali, Vijaya, Vaishnavi, Kukula, Chandika, Krishna, Madhavi, Kanyaka, Maya, Narayani, Ishani, Sharada, and Ambika. Those are some familiar names that we've heard. Krishna and Yogamaya appeared as brother and sister, the supreme powerful and the supreme power. Although there is no clear distinction between the powerful and the power, power is always subordinate to the powerful. Those who are materialistic are worshippers of the power, but those who are transcendentalists are worshippers of the powerful. Krishna is the supreme powerful, and Durga is the supreme power within the material world. Actually, people in the Vedic culture worship both the powerful and the power. There are many hundreds and thousands of temples of Vishnu and Devi, and sometimes they are worshipped simultaneously. The worshipper of the power, Durga, or the external energy of Krishna, may achieve all kinds of material success very easily. But anyone who wants to be elevated transcendentally must engage in worshipping the powerful in Krishna consciousness. There's a very important instruction there that we should worship Krishna and also with spiritual objectives in mind. Generally, people are attached to worshipping demigods or others who may bestow material benefits on us, but those are limited, obviously, and that because the material nature is itself temporary. So we need to worship the supreme powerful Lord Krishna. The Lord also declared to Yogamaya, my plenary expansion, Anantashesh, is within the womb of Devaki. On account of being forcibly attracted to the womb of Rohini, he will become known as Sankarshan and will be the source of all spiritual power, O Bala, by which one can attain the highest bliss of life, which is called Brahman. Therefore, the plenary portion Ananta will be known after his appearance, either as Sankarshan or as Balaram. In the Upanishads, it is stated, Nayam Atma Balahena Hinena Labhya. The purport is that one cannot attain the supreme platform of self-realization without being sufficiently favored by Balaram. Bala does not mean physical strength. No one can attain spiritual perfection by physical strength. One must have the spiritual strength which is infused by Balaram or Sankarshan. Ananta or Shesha is the source of the power which sustains all the planets in their different positions. Materially, this sustaining power is known as the law of gravitation, but actually it is a display of the potency of Sankarshan. Balaram or Sankarshan is the source of the spiritual power of the original spiritual master. Therefore, Lord Nityananda Prabhu, who is also the incarnation of Balaram, is the original spiritual master. And the spiritual master is the representative of Balaram, the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who supplies spiritual strength. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is confirmed that the spiritual master is the manifestation of the mercy of Krishna. So some very important points there. One thing we all learn in school is the law of gravitational attraction. And it makes sense that Sankarshan, who got the name because he was attracted to Rohini, actually this is a display of his power. The planets floating in the sky and gravity, this is all just a manifestation of the power of Ananta Shesh, the former Sankarshan. It's got that attractive power. And then obviously the very important point mentioned here is that the spiritual master is the representative of Balaram or Lord Nityananda Prabhu. And we need the spiritual strength in order to make any progress. And physical strength obviously cannot give us spiritual benefit. So this Bala here is spiritual strength. So then the seventh pregnancy, to everyone's knowledge, it appeared that it was a miscarriage, the seventh pregnancy. And the yoga mind actually kind of put them into a sleep, a yoga nidra stage of Rohini and Devaki were placed in this state, and that's how she transferred Balaram to the womb of Rohini. And then there's a description of how Lord Krishna situated himself in the heart of Vasudeva and was transferred to the heart of Devaki. So this is very different from the ordinary way that children are conceived, by ordinary living entities. So when Lord Krishna appeared in Vasudeva's heart, there's a very nice description here which I'll read. When Vasudeva was sustaining the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, he appeared just like the glowing sun, whose shining rays are always unbearable and scorching to the common man. The form of the Lord situated in the pure, unalloyed heart of Vasudeva is not different from the original form of Krishna. The appearance of the form of Krishna anywhere, and specifically within the heart, is called Dham. Dham refers not only to Krishna's form, but also to his name, his qualities, and his paraphernalia. Everything becomes manifest simultaneously. Thus, the eternal form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with full potencies, was transferred from the mind of Vasudeva to the mind of Devaki, exactly as the setting sun's rays are transferred to the full moon rising in the east. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thus entered the body of Devaki from the body of Vasudeva without being subject to any of the conditions of an ordinary living entity. Since Krishna was there, it is to be understood that all his heavenly expansions, such as Narayan, in and incarnations like Lord Nashvin and Varaha were with him, and they also were not subject to the conditions of material existence. In this way, Devaki became the residence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is one without a second and the cause of all creation. Devaki became the residence of the Absolute Truth, but because she was confined within the house of Kamsa, she looked just like a suppressed fire or like misused education. I thought this analogy was quite interesting. When fire is kept in a jug, the illuminating rays of the fire cannot be very much appreciated. Similarly, misused knowledge, which does not benefit the people in general, is not very much appreciated. So Devaki was kept within the prison walls of Kamsa's palace, and no one could see the transcendental beauty which resulted from her conceiving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we see that both Vasudeva and Devaki, when the Lord entered into their hearts and minds, they became these glowing, effulgent personalities even more than before. And I thought it was interesting that Dham is specifically referring to the Lord residing in the heart. Generally we know Vrindavan Dham, Mayapur Dham, the abode of the Lord. But specifically, it's also when the Lord is residing in the heart of the devotee. And it's not different from the name qualities in Bharatanaryam. So, Vasudeva and Devaki were clearly very beautiful, but no one else could see, but Kamsa could see. Kamsa, however, saw the transcendental beauty of his sister Devaki, and he at once concluded that the Supreme Personality of Godhead had taken shelter in her womb. She had never before looked so wonderfully beautiful. He could distinctly understand that there was something wonderful within the womb of Devaki. In this way, Kamsa became perturbed because he was sure that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who would kill him in the future, had now come. Kamsa began to think, what is to be done with Devaki? Surely she has Vishnu or Krishna within her womb, so it is certain that Krishna has come to execute the mission of the demigods. And even if I immediately kill Devaki, his mission cannot be frustrated. Kamsa knew very well that no one can frustrate the purpose of Vishnu. Any intelligent man can understand that the laws of God cannot be violated. His purpose will be served in spite of all impediments offered by the demons. Kamsa thought, if I kill Devaki at the present moment, Vishnu will enforce his supreme will more vehemently. To kill Devaki just now will be a most abominable act. No one desires to kill his reputation, even in an awkward situation. If I kill Devaki now, my reputation will be spoiled. Devaki is a woman and she is under my shelter. She is pregnant. And if I kill her, immediately my reputation, the results of my pious activities, and my duration of life will all be finished. He further deliberated, a person who is too cruel is as good as dead, even in this lifetime. No one likes a cruel person during his lifetime, and after his death people curse him. On account of his self-identification with the body, he must be degraded and pushed into the darkest region of hell. Kamsa thus meditated on all the pros and cons of killing Devaki at that time. So we see that Kamsa has some intelligence and some knowledge of the Shastra to know that what he's doing is bad and what he's planning to do is bad. So showing there's actually some good realizations he's giving. Of course, it's all based on self-centeredness. He doesn't want to destroy his reputation and his pious activities. Generally, if our motive is only based on reputation, then it's an indication that we are doing something based on our self-centeredness. And like a saintly person would want to do the right thing, whatever his reputation will become. But obviously Kamsa is demoniac, but at least he decided not to kill Devaki at that time. So in this way, Kamsa's mind, he just became completely absorbed in thoughts of Vishnu, and thoughts of Krishna, because he's just completely taken with fear right now. So much because he knows that the person who's going to kill him is right now in the womb of Devaki. And so he's just constantly absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. But an important point that's mentioned is he is not recognized as a devotee because he was thinking of Krishna as an enemy. So we know that devotional service must be favorable. This is the famous verse, Anya Vilashita Shunya Jnanakanandinavata Anakulyena, which means favorable. Devotional service must be executed favorable, then it's actually considered devotional service. If we constantly absorb in thoughts of Krishna, but not with a favorable attitude, that's not devotional service, not Krishna consciousness. So at this time, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, accompanied by great sages like Narada and many demigods, invisibly appeared in the house of Kamsa. And then that's why this chapter is called Praised by the Demigods for Lord Krishna and the womb. So the rest of this chapter is them offering prayers. Together with Prabhupada also giving some purports as well. So they started out glorifying the Lord's vow. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna descends to this material world just to protect the pious and destroy the impious. So this is very interesting. They start off glorifying that the Lord appears in this world just to protect the pious and destroy the impious. And then later on we'll see that actually it's even more than that. But to start off with, they just glorify that aspect of the Lord. So just continue reading. Then the demigods addressed the Lord as Satyam Param, or the Supreme Absolute Truth. Everyone is searching after the truth. That is the philosophical way of life. The demigods give information that the Supreme Absolute Truth is Krishna. One who becomes fully Krishna conscious can attain the Absolute Truth. Krishna is the Absolute Truth because unlike relative truth, he is truth in all three phases of eternal time. Time is divided into past, present, and future. Krishna is truth always, past, present, and future. Shri Radha Ki Jai, Shri Krishna Ki Jai, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Ki Jai, Shri Bhagavad. Before the creation, Krishna was existing, and when there is creation, everything is resting in Krishna. And when this creation is finished, Krishna will remain. Therefore, he is the absolute truth in all circumstances. If there is any truth within this material world, it emanates from the supreme truth, Krishna. If there is any opulence within this material world, the cause of the opulence is Krishna. And goes on to say, all the opulences. If there's any strength within this material world, the cause of such strength is Krishna. So therefore, Krishna is the source of all relative truths. So, this is an important point that even the things we think are true are only true relatively. Like for example, if I say Chatsworth Center is across from the temple or it's located at the street intersection, that's true. But it's not absolute truth because in the past that wasn't the case. It wasn't there. And in the future, who knows, it might be demolished or something. So, even things that we know to be certain are true are only true in the relative sense. But Krishna is the absolute truth because he is truth in all phases of time. He is eternally true. And he is the source of everything. Like first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, it basically is describing the absolute truth as the son of Bolan, or the source of all existence. And we know, because we are saying Krishna is the source of all existence, and then we can see, for example, we have personality, and therefore the source of us must also have personality. Otherwise, how can the source not have something that we have? So this is a simple way to understand God's personal nature as well. I think later on in the chapter, as Prabhupada likes to often do, is to really establish the philosophy of personalism against the philosophy of impersonalism or Maya and Mayavad. I think you don't really find any chapter of Prabhupada's books where he doesn't, crash the Mayavad, he's crashing impersonalism. It needs Pranam Mantra as well, so that's typically something that happens. And so we'll come across that just now. The next part of the chapter is quite interesting because it reminds me of our Gita drama that we just had recently. Where we're going through various numbers and, like the three modes of material nature, 5 senses. And this whole chapter is going numerically, this whole paragraph. It's a very interesting paragraph, I really like it. It says, the Katha Upanishad also cites this example of the tree of the material manifestation standing on the ground of material nature. This tree has 2 kinds of fruits, distress and happiness. Those who are living in the tree of the body are just like 2 birds. One bird is the localized aspect of Krishna, known as the Paramatma, and the other bird is the living entity. The living entity is eating the fruits of this material manifestation. Sometimes he eats the fruits of happiness, and sometimes he eats the fruit of distress. But the other bird is not interested in eating the fruit of distress or happiness, because he is self-satisfied. The Katha Upanishad states that one bird of the tree of the body is eating the fruit, and the other bird is simply witnessing. So I think we've heard this analogy quite often, that the difference between the super soul in the heart and the living entity. One is, the super soul is just witnessing the actions, and then we have this desire to enjoy the fruit. And that fruit comes in 2 kinds, distress and happiness. And ultimately, both of them are not favorable for us. We might like happiness more than distress, but happiness to keep us in the material world, distress keeps us in the material world. So we need to transcend that platform. And there's an interesting verse in the Bhagavad Gita where one must learn to tolerate. Actually, it's not Bhagavad Gita, but we must tolerate both happiness and distress, because obviously, to learn how to tolerate distress is impressive, but we must also tolerate happiness and not get too attached to that either. So that was 2, the 2 birds. Then next is the roots of the tree extend in 3 directions. This means the root of the tree is the 3 modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Just as the tree's roots expand, so by the association of the modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, one expands his duration of material existence. The taste of the fruits are 4 kinds: religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and ultimately liberation. According to the different association in the 3 modes of material nature, the living entities are tasting different kinds of religiosity, different kinds of economic development, different kinds of sense gratification, and different kinds of liberation. Practically, all material work is performed in ignorance, but because there are 3 qualities, sometimes the quality of ignorance is covered with goodness or passion. The taste of these material fruits is accepted through 5 senses. The 5 sense organs through which the knowledge is acquired are subjected to 6 kinds of works: lamentation, illusion, infirmity, death, hunger, and thirst. This material body or material manifestation is covered by 7 layers: skin, muscle, blood, marrow, bone, fat, and semen. The branches of the tree are 8: earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego. There are 9 gates to this body: the 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, 1 mouth, 1 genital, 1 rectum. And there are 10 kinds of internal air passing within the body: prana, apana, udana, jnana, samana, etc. The 2 birds seated in this tree, as explained above, are the living entity and the localized supreme personality of Godhead, Paramatma. So that was just an interesting paragraph. I liked how it just went from 1 to 10, a description of the material nature and everything it encompasses. Obviously, each of these topics you can dive into much deeper, but we're not going to do that now. And so then they continued with their prayers, the demigods continued with their prayers. Our dear lotus-eyed Lord, you are the source of pure goodness. There are many great sages who simply by samadhi or transcendently meditating upon your lotus feet and thus being absorbed in your thought have easily transformed the great ocean of nescience created by material nature into no more than the water and cast movement. Simply by meditation on the lotus feet of the Lord, great sages cover over this vast ocean of material existence without difficulty. So there's a very interesting verse in Bhagavatam that I think was discussed recently as well. Bhagavatam 10:231. O Lord, who resemble the shining sun, you are always ready to fulfill the desire of your devotee, and therefore you are known as a desire tree, Vancha Kalpa Taru. When acharyas completely take shelter under your lotus feet in order to cross the fierce ocean of nescience, they leave behind on earth the method by which they cross. And because you are very merciful to your other devotees, you accept this method to help them. So, it's a very wonderful verse about how the acharyas, being so dear to the Lord, leave behind methods for us to follow in their footsteps. Like if you think about it, before Prabhupada's time, it wasn't this easy to have a method for going back to Godhead. Like right now, the method Prabhupada has given us is just chant 16 rounds of the Mahamantra, follow the regulative principles, and you go back to Godhead. Now, and initially when we come across this, it might seem like a challenge, and it's quite a difficult task. But if we think about what Prabhupada is asking of us, and what the potential possibility is, it's really not asking much at all, because he's just asking us for seemingly not so difficult things to do, and we're getting the greatest benefit from doing it. And it hasn't been this way before. So we're really getting kind of the backdoor entrance into Goloka Vrindavan, or the spiritual world. And there's a very interesting paragraph here where it's described exactly how this boat that the acharyas are leaving for us allows us to cross the ocean of suffering, of material existence. O self-illuminated one, the great saintly persons who have crossed over the ocean of nescience by the help of the transcendental boat of your lotus feet have not taken away that boat. It is still lying on this side. If one takes a boat to cross over a river, the boat also goes with one to the other side of the river. And so when one reaches the destination, how can the same boat be available to those who are still on this side? To answer this difficulty, the demigods say in their prayer that the boat of the Lord's lotus feet is not taken away. The devotees still remaining on this side are able to pass over the ocean of material nature because the pure devotees do not take the boat with them when they cross over. When one simply approaches the boat, the whole ocean of material meshes is reduced to the size of the water and calf's hoofprint. Therefore, the devotees do not need to take the boat to the other side. They simply cross the ocean immediately. Because the great saintly persons are compassionate toward all conditioned souls, the boat is still lying on this side. In other words, one can meditate upon the lotus feet of the Lord at any time, and by so doing, one can cross over the great ocean of material existence. So this is a little bit of a magical boat. If someone's taken a boat on one side of the river, then it's the boat on that side. How do you get across? But actually what's happening is, just by approaching the boat, the water itself diminishes to the size of a calf's footprint, and then you don't even need the boat to cross over. So that is giving us our direction. We need to approach the boat of the Lord's lotus feet. And the saintly persons, we need to follow in their footsteps. So, okay, I'll just skip a little bit of the time say. The demigods also mention what is meditation. Meditation means concentration upon the lotus feet of the Lord. And very importantly, the demigods express their verdict that the persons who are interested in meditating on something void or impersonal cannot cross over the ocean of meshes. Such persons are simply imagining that they have become liberated. Their intelligence is contaminated because they fail to meditate upon the lotus feet of your Lordship. As a result of this neglectful activity, the impersonalists fall down again into the material way of conditioned life, although they may temporarily rise to the point of impersonal realization. Impersonalists undergo severe austerities and penances to merge themselves into the Brahman effulgence or impersonal Brahman existence, but their minds are not free from material contamination. They have simply tried to negate the material ways of thinking. That does not mean they have become liberated. Thus they fall down. So very, very important point that the impersonal understanding and the impersonal endeavor will ultimately result in falling back down to the material world. Even if one merges into the impersonal effulgence of the Lord, one is sure to fall down after that. Because it's a bit of an artificial state. We cannot have this state of not doing, if you artificially try and renounce happiness and distress and just kind of neglect even your personality, the fact is we are people. So even if we try and abandon our personality, it will show up sometime because we are people. So we must necessarily fall down from the personal Brahman effulgence. And then demigods in their prayers mention, those who are devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead never fall down like the impersonalists. Even if the devotees fall down, they remain affectionately attached to their Lord. They can meet all kinds of obstacles on the path of devotional service, and freely, without any fear, they can surmount such obstacles. Because of their surrender, they are certain that Krishna will always protect them. As is promised by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, my devotees are never vanquished. And then the demigods are also talked about the Lord's appearance just to establish his form, because so many people speculate about the Lord's form because they don't know. Prabhupada mentions the appearance of Krishna is the answer to all imaginative iconography of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everyone imagines the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead according to his mode of material nature. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that the Lord is the oldest person. Therefore, a section of religionists imagine that God must be very old, and therefore they depict the form of the Lord like a very old man. I think you may have come across pictures like this, the Lord as an old man, long beard, grey beard, or someone with the world on his shoulders suffering from a great burden. These are all ways of imagining the form of the Lord when we don't have knowledge. And because in Brahma Samhita is mentioned, the Lord is the oldest person, so we'll imagine like that. But in the same Brahma Samhita, it's contradicted. Although he is the oldest of all living entities, he has his eternal form as a flesh youth. So, because these things bewilder us, the Lord actually appears very directly to establish his form. And we can see very, very clearly the form of the Lord at the altar. And our temple, I feel, is like unique. And the pictures, I know the first time I came to this temple, I didn't think I even noticed the deities because I was just bewildered by all the pictures that are all around us. They extremely, extremely wonderful pictures. And they very much establish the Lord's form. Of course, the Lord has many forms, not just Krishna, not just Lord Chaitanya, but the Lord's original form is Krishna. And so he comes to establish his form for the benefit of all of us who are bewildered. And then the demigods have another very nice instructive prayer that, "O Lord, the impersonalists or non-devotees cannot understand that your name is identical with your form." And Prabhupada mentions, since the Lord is absolute, there is no difference between his name and his actual form. In the material world, there is a difference between the form and the name. The mango fruit is different from the name of the mango. You can't taste the mango by simply chanting mango, mango, mango. But the devotee who knows that there is no difference between the name of the form of the Lord chants Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and realizes that he is always in Krishna's company. So, the name of the Lord is not different from himself, it's not different from his form. So just by chanting his name, we immediately associate him with the Lord, because we in his company, we in his presence. But this cannot be understood by the impersonalists. And obviously, because we still have some impersonalist tendencies in our heart, we are also lacking in our full realization of this fact. And then also, Prabhupada mentions an important point. Those who are engaged in devotional service of the Lord have already transcended the material position. And just give you a piece. And then the demigods glorify the Lord because by him appearing on the earth, the impressions of his feet will be on the ground everywhere. So they'll see his footprints with those marks like the flag, the child, the thunderbolt, everywhere. And that will grace both the earth and the demigods and the heavenly planets who can see those markings. So just by the Lord's appearance on the earth, he benefited the earth very directly. We're very fortunate because imagine we live in a place where the Lord appeared, on the same planet where the Lord appeared in his original form even the demigods can't claim that. I mean, they obviously have Ramana as their family member, but we, can, if we take a plane trip to Vrindavan, we can actually visit the place that the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his original form appeared in this world. It's a very, very rare benediction on us. But then, like earlier, the demigods were explaining that the Lord appears to annihilate the miscreants and protect the pious, basically. And here, they kind of give some more elaboration on that. They say, "Oh, dear Lord, you are unborn. Therefore, we do not find any reason for your appearance other than for your pleasurable pastimes." And then Prabhupada says, although the reason for the appearance of the Lord is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, he descends just to give protection to the devotees and vanquish the non-devotees. Actually, he descends for his pleasure meeting with the devotees, not really to vanquish the non-devotees. The non-devotees can be vanquished simply by one kick of material nature. These things, can happen very easily. The Lord doesn't need to personally appear to annihilate demons and things. But He's appearing just to exhibit His pastimes, specifically His pleasure pastimes with the devotees, and to attract us in that way to pursue our role in those pastimes, which we've stopped. So that is actually his reason for appearance. And then the demigods mention all the previous appearances of the Lord, and his fish incarnation, the horse incarnation, the tortoise incarnation, half man, half lion, the boar incarnation, the swan incarnation, King Ramachandra, Parashuram, many other incarnations. And then they kind of go back to their point, like, you appear just to protect the devotees, and we request you in your present appearance as the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself to give us similar protection all over the three worlds and remove all obstacles to the peaceful execution of our lives. So they started off saying, my dear Lord, you appear just to protect your devotees, vanquish the miscreants. Then they went and further elaborated, actually you appearing just for your pleasure pastimes. And then they went back and said, in all these previous incarnations, you've given protection to the devotees. So please, in your current incarnation, please also give us protection in a similar way. And then they kind of conclude to Mother Devaki, saying, Dear Mother Devaki, within your womb is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appearing along with all His plenary extensions. He is the original Personality of Godhead, appearing for our welfare. Therefore, you should not be afraid of your brother, the King of Boja. Your son, Lord Krishna, who is the original Personality of Godhead, will appear for the protection of the pious Yadu dynasty. The Lord is appearing not alone, but is accompanied by His immediate plenary portion, Baladev. Devaki was very much afraid of her brother Kamsa because he had already killed so many of her children. So she was very anxious about Krishna. In the Vishnu Purana, it is stated that in order to pacify Devaki, all the demigods, along with their wives, used to visit her to encourage her not to be afraid that her son would be killed by Kamsa. Krishna, who was within her womb, was to appear not only to diminish the burden of the world, but specifically to protect the interests of the Yadu dynasty, and certainly to protect Devaki and Vasudeva. It is understood that Krishna had been transferred from the mind of Vasudeva to the mind of Devaki, and from there to her womb. Thus all the demigods worshipped Devaki, the mother of Krishna. After thus worshipping the transcendental form of the Lord, all the demigods, with Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva placed in front, departed for their heavenly abodes. So that's the end of the chapter. It's interesting that the demigods appeared just to pacify Mother Devaki because she was anxious that for Krishna's protection. So they went just to pacify her and tell her, don't worry, he's the original personality of Godhead and he's appearing along with his brother Balaram, the source of all spiritual strength. And so their appearance is not to protect. Their appearance, they obviously are going to protect the whole world, but they specifically appear to protect your family and you know, Devaki and Vasudeva, which is very sweet. If you think about it, it's a bit like us when, visiting the Dham. The Demigods are visiting the Dham because right now the Lord is in the heart of Mother Devaki. So, they're basically doing like a parikrama. Basically, they came to visit her because that's the Dham right there. So that's a summary of the chapter today. Are there any questions or comments or contributions from anyone? We've got like 2 minutes left. Okay. Thank you everyone for tolerating me, and I hope there was some benefit from today's discussion. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.